Hey guys, Zen here, and today I wanted to circle back and go over 10 changes coming with Operation Void Edge. Year 5 Season 1 is setting the stage to be one of the most exciting seasons of the past few years for Rainbow Six Siege, and compared to recent content, there is a lot that's changing and a ton of updates to know about. So yeah, this one is for you guys. Let's get it started. Really quickly guys, my friends over at Now Sense have launched their new flavor, Pineapple Twist, and it's available right now in the shop. For those new, Now is a focus drink designed to increase performance that's caffeine free, but with the new flavor, it's also now sugar-free. The formula hasn't changed. It still benefits memory and reaction speed, but you'll enjoy a new fruity and sweet flavor to go along with it. Guys, check the top link in the description to grab yourself a new bag of Pineapple Twist, and if you use code ZEN at checkout, you'll get a free shaker added to your order. They'll ship it to you anywhere worldwide, and so guys, head below to learn more about Now Drinks, and of course, thank you to them for sponsoring the video. So the first change that we must lead with is the addition of an effective counter to Montang with Oryx. Montang has always been an immovable mountain, like there's just never been a way to move a fully extended Monty out of the area he's occupying. Once the diffuser is planted, if the attackers still have a Monty alive in the round, it makes it incredibly difficult for the defenders to regain their footing because Monty must be dealt with. Even when you have the means to deal with him, like Goo Mines or Gersmod, actually getting him down and out of the way takes time, which could cost the round. Oryx is the direct answer to that, and it doesn't require anything fancy. He simply uses his Rema dash to barrel into Monty and push him to the ground, and the rest is easy to understand. Now, Monty can actually counter this by meleeing him as he charges, but it will require practice to master, and it could also lead Monty to be in a bad spot by forcing him to unextend to prepare for the melee. Otherwise, a fully extended Monty now has a serious counter with Oryx and his Rema dash. Number 2 is the debris fix for windows and barricades. Now, if you've been playing this game for any length of time, you'll know the frustration that occurs when you melee or even shoot a barricade and the wood doesn't fall or it just stays awkwardly in place. I know it's cost me some rounds and also a little patience, but moving forward in year 5, this is being addressed. The devs do want it to remain as accurate as possible, and you've also got to consider that it has to look realistic when the panels are on the ground for intel purposes, and so when you melee, the pieces that you hit will fall, and it should be more consistent. In the test server, I've never had the issue of it being stuck or really anything even close, and it's honestly a big difference, and more than anything, I think it'll add to your overall confidence as a player. Moving on, we have Training Grounds. So as of now, it is a simple name change to Terrorist Hunt, and yes, this means that with Void Edge, Terrorist Hunt will be no more. And yeah, instead, we have Training Grounds. It still acts like T-Hunt, but if you're wondering, for me personally, I think this is the base to something much more. As we've discussed, the devs are slowing up on the release of new operators as time goes on, and it's to focus on other aspects of the game and introduce reworks to existing content. I could imagine some of those resources being used to upgrade Training Grounds into something that offers up a lot more actual training than just shooting at bots. Of course, for some, that is all that's needed, just a simple exercise to warm up the wrist, but it would be exciting to just have more of the sandbox available and to also add things like a shooting range, which is something the community have been clamoring for. Ultimately, guys, that's where I think this is headed, and in a future season, it'd be interesting seeing a fully developed Training Ground. Number 4 on the list is probably the smallest change here, but you now have drone options for after the prep phase ends. Have you ever been in a scenario where there's about 5 seconds left in the prep phase and you're cruising your drone around the objective and you've almost broke free and gotten away from the Jaeger that's chasing your drone down to take it out, but the time ends and your drone stops dead in its tracks right before the drone hole because the round is beginning? Well, now you'll have drone options that will allow you to manually choose if you want to exit your drone as the prep phase ends and the round begins. There are 3 options: automatic, which is how it works today in the live game; semi-automatic, which will automatically exit after the prep phase ends unless you're controlling your own drone; and then manually, which means you'll have to exit the drones on your own. Personally, I've been enjoying semi-automatic because I'm able to get my drone out of dodge if needed, but I like moving as soon as the prep phase ends as an attacker, so it allows you that perfect timing if you're not on your drone. Now let me know which one you're going with down below. I'm actually really interested in that feedback. Midway through the list at number 5, we have one of the most unexpected updates, and it's the full rework of Oregon in Rainbow Six Siege. Look, this has always been a fan favorite map, and it's just been one of those maps that as a player, you probably look forward to, and really for both sides, it feels great to have a match on. But just being honest, it was getting a bit stale. I can't tell you the last time I saw Mira on Oregon, because every time she's the go-to ban, and I can almost guarantee there's a defender waiting for you at the bottom of main steps in the basement objective, and they probably have a shotgun. Like, this map is a test of who's played it most, and sure, there is some knowledge-based skill there, but ultimately, it was time, and from what they've done to it, I think it'll at least make things a little bit more interesting. My one big takeaway from the rework is that now, that fourth bomb site that used to be in the tower and played vertically, where the bombs were stacked on each other, is no more, and they've added a new site connected to the kitchen that makes it actually viable to play. Next up, something we've talked about in length is the rework to the recruit. Since we've already been here, we'll be brief and mention that now the recruit has attachments on his weapons that make him a little bit more usable. And there's also been some changes to the loadouts that give him access to a fully loaded SMG-11 and also a super shorty. However, the M870 rush on attack is no longer possible, and I know that's troublesome to some, and sure guys, I'll miss it too. The last thing I'll say is that during my time in the TTS, I saw a lot of recruit, and not everyone was there for the memes. He's actually pretty lethal now, and when you consider he has access to dual secondary gadgets, you're not missing out on much when choosing him, and I still struggle saying that a bit. Next up, in Void Edge, we'll be seeing a nerf to Elysian. Now, honestly, this isn't a huge nerf to this operator. Really, it just kind of makes him like the rest of the trap operators, where now, if you lose sight of the goo, you won't see the icon on screen. Also, the damage taken when you step on goo has been completely removed, and instead, the damage done when you leave it in your foot has been bumped up to 6 from 4. So, moving forward, you will only ever die from goo if you leave it in your foot and the damage over time gets you. Otherwise, it does no damage when you step on it, and it also won't hurt a downed operator, so no more welcome mat goo traps. Number 8 is the tweak to Twitch, which starts her shock drone with 3 shots and will have a new cooldown similar to Yokai, and finally, if you tase an enemy operator, it only does 1 damage now. The goal is for Twitch to focus on defender utility with her drone instead of defenders themselves, and overall, I think it's a good update to her. I really don't want to see any more F2 nerfs because I feel like the weapon is one more patch away from being underwhelming, and Twitch really needs that firepower to remain relevant, and so going for the shock drone and focusing on what it's really meant to do is a great early step here. Next, we have a host of really big secondary gadget changes coming in Void Edge. The big topic is that Ying, Nock, and Maverick are all receiving frag grenades, and Dokkaebi will be losing them. This also adds to the fact that Iana will have access to frag grenades at launch as well, and so guys, Void Edge is going boom, big time. One of the more obvious points that comes to mind is that they want more Wamai time. This is the most frags ever on attack, and Jaeger can't stop them all, especially with some of the more important operators bringing them, like Maverick in particular. Wamai is the only other operator to help with this, and so in the new season, there will be much more reason to bring this operator. Recruit still has them as well, and so at almost all times, you could be looking at 10 frags on the attacking side, which could also help balance out some of that defender favored argument. It is a little nerve-wracking to know that this many frags is consistently possible, and usually whenever they're available, they're brought, because they aren't just lethal, there's plenty of utility available as well, so this is a big buff to the attacking side in general. It is unfortunate that Dokkaebi is losing her frags because ever since she got them, they've been really useful to her, and they've made her feel complete, but giving them to Maverick makes it so that there's almost always going to be an operator on the attacking side with them, and someone as important as Maverick is just game-changing in the meta. And then finally guys, to wrap up the list at number 10, a massive update to explosions, beginning with year 5 and the addition of shrapnel. To be quick, explosions will work more realistically and will send out bits of shrapnel or debris from a blast throughout the map and cause damage and destruction in the things it comes into contact with. Standing clear will be crucial because you could be at risk with every single explosion that goes off, from frags to breach charges, and so being aware of what's going on around you will be very important here. In the live build, explosions can only really hurt you if you're near them, again like with a frag or breach, but with the new raycasting feature that sends out beams and tells the blast exactly what and where to hit, all that is changing. It's a change that may not be instantly noticeable, but eventually it will be commonplace, and so hopefully this better prepares you. But alright guys, that's the video, a list of 10 for you to get acquainted with, and I hope it helps. Of course, we've talked about this stuff before, and probably in more detail in other content, but this should be really the most important stuff to be aware of for the start of the next season. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. What's the biggest change coming next year from your perspective, and is there anything I missed? Leave everything in a comment down below. Guys, if you did enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. With that being said, it's been Zen. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm out.